strategizing and just streamlining efficiencies and resources and getting the right people at the table. And I really applaud the city and the efforts they put together to put their resources together, to create traffic control plans, to get everything laid out so that when the USA Concert folks come here, they'll do their specialty, which is stage production, the backstage, the artist, getting them in and settled in and all that good stuff. So, I really think the city's done a great job and should be commended for the efforts that they've put in.
Yeah, compliments to the city. You have done a great job of trying to get the information out.
Correct.
Any way you can, you've gotten the information out.
Yeah, you try. You try to hit social media, you try to hit the paper, you try to hit the local radio stations, you try to even respond to Facebook posts as much as you can. You try to update the frequently asked questions sheet on the Tailgate and Tallboys website. You try, right? You put the information out in as many channels as you can. You hope the information reaches the target audience, but sometimes it doesn't, and we understand that. But I think once people see how well organized this is, and once they see it, I think it'll be easier for everybody to say, okay, year 2, now we'll know what to do. Make this adjustment, make this tweak, make this addition, or take this out. Like, we have to have a chance to kind of see it first, too, even though as much planning as we've done, we haven't seen it yet either.
Visiting with Josh Akers, I just thought of this. Have you been in communication with any other communities who have done this for the first time?
We have. When we first started even talking about doing this with USA Concerts, we kind of did like a reference check with our Auburn, Michigan folks that worked with them, and they had nothing but glowing remarks for them. So we kind of just talked about how well the relationship was, and it was glowing remarks. So that kind of made us feel better about going into this for our first year. But even for these guys that do this all the time, they've never done Clinton. Bloomington's layout is different. Auburn, Michigan's layout is different. Clinton's riverfront is different. So you try to take their plan, but you also have to mold it in and fit within the layout of the land and the geography as well. So, some logistical things to get through with the river right on the one side of you, railroad track on the other. That's a unique, experience right there.
I can recall, when you were first putting this together, that you had mentioned that they thought the riverfront was an ideal location.
They loved it. Oh my gosh, they loved it. So, if people don't remember, when this first came out and Scott and I started talking, it was just like trying to strategize how to get something on like the band shell or even in the stadium at that time, just like ideas. And then when the conversation led us to Wayne Klein from USA Concerts and he came here, he loved it so much that led into the 50-50 split, the 50-50 co-promotion. So we were just trying to figure out how to do it on our own, but they loved our riverview so much, which most people that come from out of town, all they ever do is rave about our riverfront. So that's great, but he wanted to be a part of that, and they came in 50-50 partners, so that's amazing.
The stage is going to be located where?
Well, for Clintonians, if you picture the Lumber King Stadium and then the parking lot adjacent to it, right? Just south of that, usually where people park for Finally Fridays, that will be the festival grounds. So they'll build a stage right there on the ground. This is a professional stage. This isn't like some, fly-by-night production here. This is like legit. They're light towers, sound towers, built stage, wind ratings of like hurricane levels. Like, this is legit. So they'll be bringing all that stuff in. And then just the real key is just remember the 2 access points. Their only 2 access points are 9th Avenue North by Wendy's for prepaid parking for RV campers and then some foot traffic. But really, we want to funnel the bulk of the people through 2nd Avenue South by Hardee's. So you walk by Hardee's, walk by the pickleball courts, and then right up to the pool parking lot. That's where the box office will be, the main gates. Make sure you've got your clear bags. They'll wand you in. It's all credentialed. So, you have to have your pass to get on the grounds, and then they'll wand you. And once you get past the magtrometers, then you go to the festival space. So it's really important to understand only 2 access points.
The magtrometers.
Yes. Yep.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, any idea the percentage people in Clinton and the area are going to be there and people from well outside the area?
The information exists. I don't have it on me. I've looked at it one time, and this was like probably a couple months ago. And there was double-digit states represented that are coming to this festival. I know some from even Arizona, Florida, Texas. Just to name a few, but I don't have the percentages. Okay. We'll hope to get that soon.
In this final update before Tailgate and Tallboys, parking reminders. Let's remind people what they can and cannot do.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the biggest thing is prepaid parking east of the tracks. It's $75 for the 3 days, and we've heard some people like, oh, that's super expensive. Well, if you break it out by day, it's $25 a day. But the other thing is there are so many people being entrepreneurial that are renting out their own lots or their yards or their parking lots or whatever. There are more parking options for this event than any event we've seen as far as people making their stuff available. So if you don't want to go the route of the prepaid parking, you still have street side parking, right? You still have the shuttle option by Lincoln Way, which is like a day rate. I think the Wild Rose has parking for their folks that they're shuttling. I know there's folks over in Fulton that are offering their parking up and shuttling. Local businesses are offering their parking and shuttling. Like the parking options are like nothing we've ever seen before. And I think I try to remind people too, like if you think of your 4th of July fireworks, this is no different. People find a place to park for those events as well. So this is no different than that's going to be. But I highly recommend taking advantage of the prepaid parking because that puts you in the Pony Field parking lots, which is like maybe a block away from the festival space.
And that's quite a few parking.
It's got 250 some parking spots.
Yeah.
Plus you got the lot across from Happy Joe's is also prepaid. So you got North Lot A, which is like the Marina Overflow trailer parking lot. North Lot B, which is the Pony Field lot. And then you've got the South Lot, which is across from Happy Joe's. Those are the two and a half prepaid parking options that we have right now.
Again, appreciate you coming in all this time. And what have you heard from the business people in town? I know you were preparing them, saying, hey, stock up, make sure you're ready for this influx of people. What are you hearing from them now?
Yeah, so we visited most of the businesses that are at the two intersections, like on 9th and 2nd. Just did a little face-to-face time. They were all like seemingly like excited but overwhelmed and anxious all at the same time, like a lot of a mixture of emotions. But I mean, they're prepared. I mean, they're preparing for their staffing and their inventory. They're reaching out to their corporates, to make sure that they've got all the stuff that they need. So the response has been favorable. I think there was some confusion about like closures and like street closures that were going to close their businesses down, and no businesses will be shut down by our account. If businesses choose to shut down on their own, that'll certainly be on them to do. We hope that everybody takes advantage of the opportunity to have 12 to 15,000 people in your community, but we understand staffing levels don't always permit that, so some are opting to not open, and that's fine. But really, there should be no business closures from our doing.
Just throwing this out, the other day, the NFL announced that Green Bay is going to be hosting the draft next year. And they're expecting 250,000 to Green Bay, which is a population of 107,000.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what they're thinking about.
Yeah, for sure. And I always say that too, like whether you do a festival for like 15,000 or 150,000, the logistics are still the same. You just prorate it, right? If you have 100 volunteers for this and you need 1,500 volunteers for that, it's the same logistics. It's just on a bigger scale.
Yeah, volunteers. How's that coming along?
Volunteers have been great. So. We've got the local scout troops are going to take care of can collection each night during the event, so that's going to be huge as far as cleanup goes because they'll be on top of that throughout the night. They're going to have a section over by the band shell to kind of sort and count and bag and stack on their trailers. So we've had people that have reached out to try to help with the camper check-in, camper oversight, just making sure you have people on site to help, make sure everything's safe and secured and everybody knows where they're supposed to go. So the volunteer opportunities have been really good so far.
What about vendors? Is that all lined up? I would imagine everything's ready to go there.
It is, but before I jump onto that, I got to mention, I think the American Legion, I think, has taken over like a lot of the parking oversight, like helping staff some of those lots to make sure that people get in and taken care of there. So we got to throw a shout out to those volunteers as well. Okay. And then what was the other one? Parking?
Vendors, how's that coming along?
Vendors is great. So we did reach out to local vendors to give them the opportunity to do a Taste of Clinton. I think we settled in with like 5 that actually took us up on it because it is a lot. It's a lot for small business to take on such a massive, inventory. And then if you've never seen it, you don't know what the payout's going to be. Is it going to be enough to make it worth their while? So we do have an area for the Taste of Clinton. That will be some of the local folks that you can enjoy while you're here. And then they'll also bring in their high volume producers as well. So there'll be lots of food vendors. There'll be lots of merchandise vendors. If you've not seen the map on Facebook, please check it out. It's got like the lay of the land. Right. It's got the stage, the VIP section, the general admission area, kind of where there's no chairs allowed beyond this point. And yes, you can bring chairs, so please squash that. You can bring chairs, the folding chairs, but there's certain areas where they can be permitted.
My wife was on Facebook, and I had a chance to take a look at it, and you really can kind of visualize where everything is going to be. So that'd be a great thing. Do that.
Yes, take a look at the map. It's on the my Facebook page, the city's Facebook page, the Tailgate and Tallboys. Like, just if you've not seen the map, just ask someone and they'll share it with you because it should be floating around there everywhere.
You excited?
I'm very excited.
You look excited.
It is like one of the biggest things I've ever taken on in my career, and I honestly think the amount of work and effort that Mayor Scott, the City of Clinton department heads have put into this, I think we're going to put our best foot forward, and we'll make adjustments as we need to, but I think people are really going to be impressed with the product that's going to be delivered to them.
Josh, again, thank you so much for coming in. I hope it goes extremely well, better than anticipated,
Yes.
but it's going to be quite an ordeal.
And just buy your tickets, check it out. If you don't like country,
Yes.
whatever, there are so many artists that are not like really country genre. Like, just come check it out. It's great music, great
Jelly
entertainment.
Roll's going to be here, right?
Jelly Roll, yeah.
Jelly Roll, and
He's rock, rap, country, you
Yeah.
name it. He's a little bit everything right there.
very good. Hey, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Check of the weather brought to you by Air Control.
Refreshingly cooler day ahead of us. We'll see a few clouds this morning, giving way to mostly sunny skies. Temperatures into the mid 70s for tonight. Windows